We often think of investing as risky and dangerous, but in this video, I'm going to show you how our current system is set up where it's actually more risky to not be investing. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back, Market Disruptors. You know, on Thursdays, I'd like to bring you videos where we talk about investing, specifically around cryptocurrencies and high risk, high return asset classes like that, new emerging technologies. On Tuesdays, I'd like to bring you videos before you invest, right? All that life before you have money to invest. And so today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about why most people are afraid to invest. Most people think it's actually risky to invest. But the truth is that being financially uneducated is actually the risk. It's not the investing that's risky, it's being uneducated and investing that's risky. So I want to break that down for you. First of all, I just want to tell you that you have to invest. Unfortunately, you shouldn't have to, but you do have to. The reason why is because since about 1971, wages have gone down. The average person is making less today in adjusted dollars than they were previous to 1971. Now, we always have to say in adjusted dollars, and that's because inflation is going up. What that means is that prices are going up, and so they say in adjusted dollars, and that means, when you factor in inflation like that. So wages are going down, but at the same time, prices are going up. Right? So that's like a double whammy. My wages are going down, my prices are going up, but also on top of that, it's a triple threat. So on top of that, your savings are actually worth less because inflation is going up. So the money that you're putting away in saving is actually worth less and less and less because of that inflation. And it shouldn't be that way. Like I said before, right? You shouldn't have to do this. It shouldn't be this way, but it is. And the reason why, we get into this more on our Thursday videos, but it's because money isn't sound, right? So what that means is our money supply is constantly changing, and that's why it's not sound. Now, the whole world used to be on a gold standard, a standardized system, and really the whole world got on that in about the 1200s. And when the world got on this globalized gold standard, things really took off. And really, that's when you hear about getting out of the dark ages, going into the Renaissance ages. That's when that happened. People were able to start specializing in what they were good at, which allowed people to flourish and do really, really good because of that, right? That specialization. But then fast forwarding into the early 1900s, and the world started getting off of that gold standard. Most of the world had gotten off the gold standard. The United States kept the USD gold standard. It got manipulated, but more or less basically until 1971. The money supply was expanding, but basically by 1971, President Nixon said, hey, we're done. We're off the gold standard, and that's it. And ever since then, our money has been losing more and more value. And like I said, since then, we've seen the wage decline. So the wages have been going down. Your inflation, the inflation has been stealing your savings and all those other things. Now, like I said, even prices have been going up. And that's why you hear about the rich getting richer. And the reason why the rich get richer is because of this inflation. So inflation drives prices up. I'm sure you've noticed, like real estate has gotten a lot more expensive. Stocks have gotten a lot more expensive, right? Shares of Coca-Cola are a lot more today than they were in the 1960s, right? Shares of Microsoft are a lot more today than they were 20 years ago. Home prices, anywhere you go, are a lot more today than they were 20 years ago. So assets have gone up, inflation has driven them up, and the rich own assets. The rich are invested, the rich own assets, and so the rich get richer as this happens because of that inflation, because they've invested, because they own the assets. And the other side, the other piece of that is rich get richer and the poor get poor. Now, why do the poor get poorer? Right? What's going on with the poor getting poorer? Well, the poor get poor because they don't own any assets. They haven't invested. They don't have any assets that have gone up in value. Now, if the poor had bought the same things that the rich had, well, then those assets would have gone up in value, but they didn't. What the poor did is instead of buying assets that have gone up in value, they've seen their wages go down. And on top of that, their wages have gone down, but maybe they've saved up a little bit, but those savings have also gone down. Now, you may say, what do you mean the savings gone down? Well, the savings might be the same amount in the bank account, but the purchasing power of those savings has gone down. So that's why the rich get richer. They own assets, they have investments. The poor get poorer because they don't have investments and their wages have gone down and their savings have become worth less and less. So what does all that mean? It means you are forced to be an investor. Now again, it shouldn't have to be that way. If we had a hard sound money, it wouldn't be that way, but it is. That's the way things are. So you're forced to be an investor. Now, most people don't really understand this. Part of the reason why is just because you're not educated properly. This isn't something that you learn in school. And so because we don't learn about money, because we don't learn about the monetary system, economics, we don't learn about investing, it's foreign to most people. And because it's foreign, it seems scary and it seems risky, right? It's like, if I put my money there, I could lose it. But I say that being financially uneducated is what's risky. It's not the actual risk, it's not the actual investment that's risky, it's being uneducated. And so if you were to become educated, it wouldn't be as risky, right? What is risky is doing nothing. That's risky. What's risky is relying on your employer. Relying on your employer to take care of you for the rest of your life and hopefully take care of you through retirement. That's risky. Risky is putting your money in the bank and saving it, right? Like I said, that savings, the purchasing power of that savings goes down every year. That's risky. Inflation, right? Inflation is taking the value of your savings. That's risky. Risky is considering your home as an investment. A lot of people found out the hard way in that 2008, 2009 crash when everyone thought their home was their biggest investment, only to find out that it wasn't, and it actually wrecked most people. Risky is putting all your money into a 401k, hoping that those fees don't eat you alive, hoping that money is going to be there when you need it, right? That's risky. If you want security, what I say is that you must learn to make money, right? Instead of relying on the 401k, instead of relying on your job, instead of relying on those people, you take it on yourself. You learn yourself how to make money. You learn yourself how to invest. Now, like I said, shouldn't have to be this way, but it is, all right? So I'm gonna break that down for you. Now, if you're liking this video, give me some thumbs up on this video right now. If you don't, go ahead and give me some thumbs down. Either way, let me know so I know what content to keep bringing for you. But what I want to do is I want to kind of change the way that we think about this, the way that we talk about this, and really what we can do is we can redefine what we consider risk. Now, Warren Buffett, maybe the greatest investor of all time, Warren Buffett says that risk is not knowing what you're doing. So that's what's risky, right? You might look at any, I think you guys know I'm a big wave surfer. I grew up racing dirt bikes. That's risky. People get hurt doing those things, right? But if you're educated, if you're skilled, you can take a lot of that risk out, right? And so like Warren Buffett said, is that risk is not knowing what you're doing. So imagine if you've never surfed before and you went to Hawaii and you rented a board and you thought you were going to paddle out a pipeline into 30-foot waves. That would be very, very, very risky. I highly advise you never do that. You'd probably die. However, people that are trained, people that know what they're doing, do it every day. Hundreds and hundreds of people do it every single day and nobody ever gets hurt. So it's knowing what you're doing, right? And so remember what Warren Buffett said. He said risk is not knowing what you're doing. So he said what you are doing. He didn't say the investment is risky. He said it's what you're doing. So how can we change that, right? So we're going to redefine risk, and we need to know what we're doing, right? We have to learn that, right? And so I think the important thing is, like I said earlier, is that there is no such thing as risk-free investing. Everything has risk. Knowing what you're doing can limit that risk. But really, I said in the beginning, like not investing is also risky. So you have to understand that everything in life has risk and reward, right? So driving your car has a risk, but not driving your car and not going to work also has a risk, right? So everything has a risk. So the truth is everything has a risk, and so we always have to weigh the reward versus the risk, right? We always want to make sure that there's more reward than the risk there is. And a lot of people have problems with investing because they get greedy and they want to make these huge returns. And as you've probably heard, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So there's an equilibrium, right, in the market where why would I pay you all this interest on something that was really safe? I would just go get better terms from somebody else. The only reason why I would pay you this huge reward is because you're being compensated for the risk that you're taking, okay? Now there's ways to do that and ways not to do that, and we'll get into that later. But like I said, everything has risk and reward. So yes, if you invest, there is risk, right? But also, if you don't invest, there's risk, right? Now, the risk of not investing is, I mean, if you're investing and you're doing it poorly, I mean, that's definitely a risk. But the risk of not investing is you'll probably be stuck working for the rest of your life. That's a risk, right? That's like saying if I go to the gym, there's a risk I could hurt myself. But if I stay on the couch, there's a risk of me getting heart disease or whatever, right? So there's a risk to both, right? So the risk of investing is, hey, it's potentially you could lose your money. The risk of not investing is you'll probably have to work for the rest of your life. The risk of not investing is that you'll probably worry about money for the rest of your life. The risk of not investing is probably that you're going to depend on others for the rest of your life. And when I say depend on others, maybe it's your family's going to take care of you. Maybe you're going to rely on the government to take care of you. Now, you've probably heard Social Security's supposed to run out of money by 2023, so they may not be around to do that. You're also going to risk never knowing what true freedom is, because true freedom comes from when you don't have to work anymore. And like I said many times, it's not about never working again, it's about never having to work again, right? It's a big difference. But you'll never know true freedom until you know that. And that's because true freedom comes from financial freedom, right? When I don't have to work anymore, then I have true freedom. I can choose to work if I want. I could choose to work doing something I really love but that doesn't get paid very much. I could choose to go work in another country, another area. I could choose to not work at all. That is true freedom, right? When you always have to do that job, that's not freedom. It's modern day slavery, basically, right? So that's true freedom, financial freedom. And that's why I believe that learning to invest is more important than learning your profession. We spend all this time learning a profession, but that profession is that job, but we don't learn the most important thing, which is the thing that frees us from that job eventually. And maybe that could be 40, 50 years from now. Maybe it could be 2 or 3 years from now. It depends on what your strategy is. However, we should focus more on what frees us from the profession, not what that profession is. But that's what schools do, right? Schools teach us how to be good employees. Schools teach us to do that profession, right? Schools make us afraid of money. They make us afraid of money. They make us afraid of investing. And then what happens is they make us rely on others who understand those things, right? So now, because I'm afraid to invest my money, I'm afraid of that, I rely on others. So now I rely on my employer. I rely on my employer to give me employment. Hopefully he doesn't lay me off. Hopefully he invests my money well and there may be a pension at the end. Hopefully my landlord, right, takes care of me. Hopefully all these people, because I don't want to do it, so I'm relying on my landlord. I'm relying on the government. I'm relying on my employer. And I don't like that. I'd rather do it on my own. Now, if you're going to invest, you have to be educated, like I said. And if you're educated, it's not risky. Well, you take the risk out, right? Even if you're a trained surfer going out a pipeline, there's still risks involved, sure. Now, you could go surf there every day for the next 20 years and maybe never have a problem. But one of those days there might be, which is why we use risk management, which we're not going to talk about in this video. If you want to know more about risk management, leave me comments down below and I'll do some episodes just on that. But if you're educated, investing doesn't have to be risky. Investing can be fun. Investing can be fun. You start setting these goals out and you start seeing these things come to life. It's super fun. And like I said, it ultimately gives you that freedom that you want. And so I just want to encourage you is start today. Like I said, I wish it didn't have to be this way. I wish we had the sound money where we could just put our money into savings. We'd have a good store of value, but we don't. If you're not going to invest, you're never going to get ahead. Your wages are going down, your savings are going down, you don't have any assets to go up with inflation, and so you got to start today, right? Don't risk the future. Don't risk your future by believing this lie, right? Don't believe all that stuff. Begin your financial education. Start it today. Start reading some books. Find some seminars. Go to seminars. Find some local seminars. Even those ones that you get, that they're probably going to be sales presentations. That's fine. Just go there. They still have good information that you can learn most of the time. Find a coach. Find a mentor. That's why you're watching this YouTube channel now. Hopefully you're watching other YouTube channels as well. And then just start applying those lessons. It's one thing to learn it, but you have to start doing it, right? You can't just read about it. Again, back to the surfing example. You can't just watch videos and read books on surfing. At some point you have to get in the water, and so the same is true, right? You need to be able to finally do something. So like I said, find some mentors, watch some videos, read some books. That's what I'm here for. Let me know what else you'd like to know more on. Obviously this is a very deep subject, and I've kind of hit the surface. For me, I've been a professional investor for over 20 years. Real estate has been my main area of investing, and it's still my end game. That's still where I'm going. That's my retirement plan. So real estate's been huge in my life. If you want to know more about real estate, leave the comments down below. Just put real estate. Gold. I've been really big into gold and silver for about 12, 14 years. If you want to know more about gold and silver, go ahead and put that down there. Emerging markets. I do a lot of investments in China, which has been amazing. A lot of technology investments, and of course on Thursdays we always talk about cryptocurrencies. So I love cryptocurrencies because they're so explosive. As a matter of fact, 3 of my positions are up 100% just in the last like 3 or 4 weeks. Amazing, right? So anyway, leave those in the comments down below, and I'll do more videos on those individual topics so you can continue to learn more and more about investing. So that's it. Hopefully this makes sense. Again, give me some thumbs up if you like this. If you want more content, if you don't like it, leave me thumbs down. Either way, let me know in the comments. I answer every single one of them. I love to have those conversations with you guys. So that's it. To your success. I'm out.